I am Michael Daly. I am sitting in for Dr. Roberts. Roberts is on a giant like PR tour. She's like doing 1,000 speaking engagements. So I'm her, if you would say, Joan Rivers for the Tonight Show, helping out Johnny Carson. So I was gonna try to do a Joan Rivers for y'all, but I can't do Joan. And with me is, and I want to read this so I have everything right. I mean, I know your name, of course, but Delora DeVore, which is one of the most amazing names. So Delora is another holistic pet health coach, and we actually took the course for the first time together. And so I'm going to tell you a little about Delora. Delora is passionate about holistic health and nutrition. With a foundation in functional human health coaching, she found her true calling to be a holistic pet health coach through the Certified Holistic Pet Health Coach program. She is honored to have been asked by Dr. Roberts to be a beta tester of her course along with me, and became one of the 3 first graduates of the program. Now, a course mentor and pet health coach practitioner, she takes every opportunity to learn more about pet health every day. And absolutely, I am the same way, Delora. So welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
And I have on my Halloween shirt. Look.
Oh, you do? I love it.
Poodle rides shotgun. So excited for the season.
I know, me too. It's like my favorite. All right, and so Delora and I had the opportunity to be the first ones taking this course, and so we were on. For those that have taken the course, you sort of see Dr. Roberts' videos of her going through everything, and she's talking to 3 people, and Delora and I were 2 of them, and basically through the entire thing, our faces were just like this. Because we just, all the information we got. So, but it's been so great to just do this with you and, try and just start to do this and put it out there and experience it with you and everything like that. You've sort of been like soldiers in arms kind of doing this. So how do you feel like you've, give me a little bit experience of what you feel like you've accomplished or how you've been feeling about it or.
It's been an amazing transition. When I went to my human health coach training, I decided when I was done, I'm going to do this. I'm going to help people. I set up a business. I got everything together and put my feelers out there and talked to a few people. And they just didn't want to do the work. Nothing's for free, not even health. But it's kind of interesting that people will do more for their pets than they'll do for themselves. So I'm getting way more success and I'm getting, I need that feedback. Yeah.
Right.
That I'm helping. So it's been way more successful and I'm way more excited about it than helping people. People tend to outthink things for themselves because, you know yourself better than anyone else. But they kind of don't know about pets. They don't really know what to do. So they're really willing to listen to some advice. And I think that these days, with conventional healthcare, people aren't seeing the success with conventional healthcare. So they're looking beyond what their doctor tells them. They're taking back their own health. And with pets as well. We consult Dr. Google and get so many different opinions that it's good to have a guide. And with us being trained by Dr. Ruth, who's been doing this for 30 plus years. And you used to work with her. So that's pretty, I'm pretty envious about that. But so we got a fantastic foundation, and you being a vet tech and massage therapist and me having my human health coaching background, I think we've got everything covered. And then Jessica, who's our other colleague that is a mentor for the program as well. She does the training and stuff. And I love her approach that the training always involves nutrition. Because if you have a pet that has some attitude problems, shyness, aggression, you got to start feeding them right for them to be able to behave right. So that was probably way more than you expected to get with that question.
All right. Okay, Delora, I get it.
Shut up.
I'll get it. You've done this. Sorry, we're gonna be like, we know each other so well now. We like, no, you're so right. You're so right. And what I really love about it is that I feel like each of us as a coach all come from such different backgrounds, and so we have like different strengths. Like my strength is that I have a lot of experience as a vet tech. So what I can give is like I'm able to look at a chart and kind of know what a doctor. I can pretty much analyze a doctor's chart and know what their thoughts are just from that experience. And then also, what I always tell people is that this program may be new to you and what she's doing new to you, but I've seen her do it for over a decade. And so whenever I talk about it, I'm always like, well, I've actually got to see this used in clinic practice. And I tell people, and I was a vet tech for over 20 years, and it wasn't until I started working at Sundog Moon that I started seeing like the most amazing changes happen with just a simple diet change. Like that was something I was trained on, Hill's science diet. You do these, you do these, you do these. And then when I went to hers, I was like, oh God, she does cooking and Chinese medicine. Okay, but that's where I saw the most amazing changes just from diet alone. So, and then you have such a great like your history is with the human health coach and stuff like that. And so, yeah, it's just, we all sort of have our strong points that we all are learning from continuously.
I love having the human health coach background because studies have shown that the dog's microbiome is the closest of any mammal to the human's microbiome, our gut bacteria. And so as pet health coaches, we are recommending a lot of human supplements just because we really, really work very, very similar. The probiotics, there is a dog version, but we recommend a great a spore-based probiotics. A spore-based means that it has a little coating on it, gets past all the digestive system to get to the gut. And also that coating means it's hyperallergenic. So if you have a dog with allergies, it's going to do better on a spore-based probiotic.
Yeah, and that's what I love. So, and this is kind of what I wanted you to talk about a lot of this, because this is where sort of my weak point is. Like, I have an idea of probiotics, but usually my spiel about it is like, oh, we're getting more good guys in the gut to help take care of the bad guys, And then when I was learning this, you guys were throwing out all these like pediococcus and all these, and I didn't know any of these. Like the only coccus I knew was Olympiadococcus. So I had that one.
But that was a good one.
So yeah, and I've learned like so much from that. Like we were discussing, the hyperallergenic part. I was like, oh, like I'm always learning more and more about that. So I'd love, for you to talk more about that.
Oh, okay. I rarely get this invitation, so I'm super excited. So, oh gosh, the microbiome is often called the forgotten organ because it's just so important in the health of all of us mammals. And so researchers were studying it back in the 1800s. Of course, they had really rudimentary equipment, and they would just, dig through poop and see what all kind of critters were in there and could, just gather some things. But there was in 2007, I think, a huge official government study called the Human Microbiome Project. That lasted through to about 2016 using modern tools. So that revealed so much about the gut microbiome. So, and I think they estimate that a human body has 100 trillion cells in their body. Well, dog is, just kind of estimating will be about, 10 to 30 trillion cells in your body. Well, you need to, the gut microbiome has 10 times that amount. So just to give you some a visual, if you lay dollar bills on a football field, they would lay side by side, complete on the football field twice.
Wow.
So that's in the body, but you would add 10 more layers. So that's 20 more layers of $100 bills on a football field. That kind of gives you how many cells are in our gut bacteria. So we are a world. We have another world within us.
Mm.
So that gut bacteria is master to our B vitamins, our serotonin. There is a gut brain connection. So if you have a dog with attitude problems, you want to get their gut straight. Um, it regulates your immune system. So that in itself is a whole huge conversation. But as pet health coaches, our number one recommendation to help the gut microbiome is to feed fresh food. We got all these little living creatures within us and they're hungry. We want to give them fresh food that is living food. We're living beings, so we need living food to have optimal health. So we want to give them fresh food and probiotics to help increase the numbers. If you have more of the good bacteria, we have all kind of bacteria in our guts, dogs and humans, and cats. We just want to make sure they live together, kind of like society. We've got good people, we've got sometimes not so good people. Same thing with the gut bacteria. They're all necessary, they all have a function, but we just want to make sure the good bacteria outweighs the sketchy ones, for lack of a better term. Let's see, what else can I say? I made myself some notes. Let me notes. Oh, yes, this is very interesting. So when we have a healthy dog that has a good gut microbiome, that is natural flea and tick prevention. A flea and tick is not going to go after a dog that's super healthy. A good microbiome will help allergies. So allergies are the very first sign of dysfunction of the microbiome. Skin issues are the next issue. Autoimmune diseases like Cushing's, which we have a question about, thyroid problems, all of this originates in the gut. So what we want to do to keep that gut healthy, and stress really affects the population of the gut. And there are lots of studies that have proven this since the human gut microbiome study, that just fosters researchers to get into the pet area because it's a huge and growing industry. So how do we want to keep our pets healthy? Well, fresh food is number one. We want to feed that gut microbiome some really delicious food, which is fresh food. The kibbles, like I like to call it, is a dead food. And I call it a dead food because if you were to look at kibble under a microscope, there are no living things in there. The high heat that it takes to process that is it kills all the living creatures in there. If you were to look at a slice of avocado under a microscope, you see lots of little moving things. You're not going to see that in kibble. So that is our recommendation, is to get a dog off of kibble and onto fresh food very, very slowly. It's a big process for pet parents, but I do it because I feel great knowing that I'm doing the very best that I can for my girl. And she kind of has some issues from getting leptospirosis back in 2021. Right. Yeah, so $5,000 and a powerful antibiotic saved her life, but it's left her immune system pretty weak. So we've been trying to rebuild it for a couple of years now, and she's doing much better. She would get go back to the vet, and they'd give us another antibiotic because she'd break out on all these spots, and they were oozy and crusty and pussy, and it was just terrible, and they just bothered her so much. And every time we would get off that antibiotic, a week later they would come back. The skin issue would come back. So, about 3 times I thought, I know what to do. Why aren't you doing it? It just, we all need some help.
Right.
So,
Absolutely. And it's always different with your own pet. It's,
yeah.
I always tell people I can tell you everything to do with your pet, but the second it's like my cat, I'm like, my cat's limping. What do I do? It goes out the brain when it's your
It
house.
does. It does. So she's had no more antibiotics, and been just of course, with the fresh food, been giving her all kinds of probiotics. I've been giving her some fulvic acid that helps heal the gut microbiome. Slippery elm helps heal the gut microbiome, and then a couple of other supplements that is specific on gut healing and repopulating the gut. So has ended up being my specialty just because I've had hands-on expertise with it.
Yeah, and it's so great because I love the way that you explain it, because it's always people are always so, the idea of like how just improving the gut helps so much, ranging from like skin to anxiety to cancer. And you're just like, really? Well, how is that even possible? How it's such like an inside job. And I love your explanation
It
for
is.
it makes a lot of sense, of course. So, and that's usually, as pet health coaches, that's, the first two things, no matter what the condition is, the first thing we'll say is feed fresh food, help the gut, and that's where we start from. Cause we always have to start. That's the thing with, this whole concept of, with Western medicine is a very outward, inward healing process, as opposed to more of a supplemental functional medicine is more inside out. And that's what's important. The outside is always the secondary solution, but we've got to take care of the primary, which is internal. So, and the gut that's where you start. So it's really great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Conventional medicine, it treats the symptoms, which is wonderful. If you've got a dog that is just scratching themselves raw, and is in miserable pain, our number one, and the pet parent's number one concern, is to get that pet remedy. I can't think of the word. We don't want him miserable.
Exactly. Yep,
The comfort, the comfort of the pet is number one. So by all means, if you need to put that pet on Apoquel to keep them from scratching themselves bloody, do it. But what a holistic pet health coach is going to do is we're going to look past the symptoms and try to get to the root problem.
Right.
And I don't know the percentage, but I'm going to say 99% of all health issues, human and pets, are from inflammation and gut issues.
Yeah. Yeah. It's incredible. The more that I learn about it and see it, So my sister, she has allergies left and right, and she just, I'm like, oh, you have leaky gut syndrome. And she's like, that's not a real word. I'm like, all right, keep on going.
Well, okay. Well, call it intestinal permeability, and maybe she'll like it better.
It made her think. It made her go, oh. And I was like,
uh-huh. But that your gut lining is one cell thick, one cell. So anything can go in and irritate that lining, and I think you've seen illustrations where it shows little gaps in that little one cell lining, and whatever is in the intestines gets into the blood system, and that activates the immune system going, whoa, what is this? We need to kill this. And if a pet is continually exposed to pesticides, getting foods that it can't handle, such as unfortunately gluten, and some dogs are sensitive to dairy. There are, just all kind of stuff
No,
that,
it's all the same as what humans, have, go through, which
yeah,
is the external things, even stress and stuff like that as well.
yeah.
So, I mean, you think,
Stress. Oh, 100% stress. But so it gets into the blood system, and your body and the pet's body is constantly inflamed and trying to fight off these illnesses, or these bacterias, um, pathogens in the blood system. So what we want to do is to heal that gut to keep that from going through. And you know, it's, I hate to say this, but most of us have leaky gut,
mhm,
because unless you've worked super, super hard to remedy it, because we're just invaded with toxins in our food, with toxins in our water, environmental toxins.
right.
The plugins that we put on the walls, those are synthetic chemicals,
Mhm,
and those are going straight into your blood system, and they don't have the benefit of going through your liver to try to get it kind of filtered out. So it's going straight to the blood system. If you have those around your pet and you have pet health issues,
mhm.
I highly recommend that you remove all of those plug-in or artificial um, candles and things of that nature. And the dryer sheets, if you wash your pet's bedding often, wash it in just some vinegar and maybe a little bit of soda. It will really, really help keep the allergens down, and to help their system not be fighting so many chemicals.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So let's take a second and go to the questions on the Holistic Pet Health
Okay.
page. That's so great, Laura. God, I love that. I learned so much just now. I just it's
Did you?
oh my god,
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
I really, yeah, seriously, absolutely. Because I can always learn how to explain it better, and you have such a grasp of it, so it really
Oh, cool.
helps me.
Thanks.
Yeah. All right, so let's see. I'm gonna share a screen.
Let's see. We've got a few questions. I think you see some. I'm using my phone,
Oh,
so
you're gonna see a little. Are you still seeing me? Are you seeing the page?
yeah, I'm seeing us at the bottom. Mhm.
All right. Um.
There is, instead of going, so she made an announcement about our being on live today. Those questions are in are posted where she's got the live. Um,
Oh.
so I don't know.
Yeah,
Oh, there it is. Okay,
okay.
so
So.
keep going. Yeah, there you go. There you
Oh,
go.
this is where you were looking. Okay.
Yes, yes, yes,
All
yes.
right. Sounds good. All right. So let's see.
So I think the first one we got is at the bottom. Oh, maybe it's at the top. It's
Um,
about Cushing's disease.
that was in the top of the actual Facebook page, I think.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah. So do you want to start with the algae one?
Yeah, yeah. So without knowing what you're wanting, the purpose of the algae or Cruella, not Cruella.
Well, let me read the question real
Okay.
quick. I like Cruella better. So Rika was asking, is there a particular brand of sea algae or colonial
You can never not say Cruella anymore.
that is helpful for puppies 10 to 12 weeks old, or just integrate marine food, examples, mussels or seaweed ingredients? Thank you. All right, I'll let you take
Okay.
it.
So because you've mentioned Rita, or is it Rita or Rika? I can't see it.
Rika.
Rika,
Mhm.
because you've mentioned seaweed or mussels, I assume that you're wanting this for like a iodine, or I'm just not sure what your purpose is. Typically, chlorella is to help with heavy metals. So, and algae, sea algae as well. So I don't really have a brand. Basically, what you want to do is look online and find a company that has a certificate of authenticity that you can read that certifies that it is a pure and natural product. If I would love to know more about why you're wanting to give the puppy some the algae or a chlorella, but always mussels, greenlet mussels are one of the best things to help repopulate the gut, and the dogs love them because they're stinky delicious. And the seaweed is great for the a lot of the omegas. You find an algae or seaweed based omega-3 that is very good for pain and inflammation. So if that's what you're looking for, I don't have a brand that I can recommend off the top of my head. Just make sure whatever you choose is doesn't have any type of xylitol or because that's toxic to dogs, or any ingredients that dogs may not be able to handle, and make sure that the certificate of authenticity is valid on the sourcing.
That's great, Laura. Awesome answer. Glad I let you take over that one. And then, so Rico is also asking, what can help a 10-week puppy sleep once away from family now in our home? So I really like Adaptil collars and well, I would say for a puppy, an Adaptil plugin. And so what Adaptil is they're dog appeasing pheromone plugins that put off the pheromones that mothers put off as puppies. So that may be a good start.
I love that.
Yeah. I will tell you, they're like 50-50, but when they work, they work. So yeah, they have the Adaptil plugins. They've got, I would say, a plugin for a puppy. They do have collars, and I do recommend the collars to some dogs with anxiety. The other thing is for a puppy, it's interesting because it's such a lot of that is more training stuff. But there's the stuffed animals that have the little heartbeats that I know can be really helpful for some younger puppies. Just I think the beating of the heart makes them feel calm. So that can be helpful. How about, do you have any other thoughts on that, Laura?
CBD oil is always good for calming. But once again, I'm going to go back to real fresh foods. That's going to feed your gut, your good gut your good gut bacteria. And you've got a gut brain axis that is going to help calm the pup by having a great microbiome.
Awesome. Yeah. See, that's what's so great with like our experience. I sort of went from a vet tech point of view on that one, and then Ecuador went from a health coach point of view. So that's great. Awesome. I love that. That's like what we're,
Well, and your recommendations are like, oh man, I've never seen that before. That's really cool.
Yeah, and Adaptil we used to use all the time at Sundog Cat Moon. We had them plugged in all the rooms and everything. So it works really, and cats, it's really great for cat stress. If you have a cat that's marking, and because you have multiple stray cats outside, it can be really, really helpful for that too. It's called Feel Away for those. So, all right. So Andrea Zona, I was asking, can 4 marbles be given at the same time as Cushaway?
I need to know more about the pet, obviously, but 4 marvels is a Chinese veterinary herbal formula. Mm-hmm. So typically we use what do we cook? Herbsmith is the one that we use and recommend, and we also use it in conjunction with other
Supplements.
supplements. Yes,
Mhm.
thank you.
Mhm.
As far as the Cushaway, I looked at that before we got on the call, and it looks pretty cool because it
Mhm.
has everything that you need, the melatonin, the lignans, and phosphatidylcholine. So I don't know. I've never investigated the company to see their certificates of authentication to know where their sourcing comes from.
Mhm.
I like to just make sure that it's supernatural, whatever I'm giving them. Um, but it looks like a cool product. So my just off the top of my head, I
Mhm.
think it will be fine.
Yeah, I agree. Because the thing to think about too is that so you're going at the disease from a Chinese medicine a pathway and a
Mhm.
supplementation pathway. So
Mhm.
it mostly two most likely two different pathways. So I'm assuming that there is some sort of Chinese herb in Four Marbles that deals with spleen chi deficiency, which is pretty much really any dog that has an issue can kind of go with helping the spleen. So it's sort of going at different angles. And like Dolores said, there's a lot of clients that we have that we do both Chinese and supplementation. So I would think so too. I hadn't heard of Cushaway, so I'm glad you had got a chance to look that up before.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks pretty cool right off the blush, but I'm going to go back, and y'all are going to get tired of me saying fresh food
Yes.
is what is what brings down inflammation. It, the Dr. Ruth's crock-pot or Dr. Robert's crock-pot diet is just so easy to put together, and it's so flexible. Um, but it is anti-inflammatory in nature. So what you want to do is, in Cushing's is a pituitary issue, an adrenal issue. Also with Cushing's, you can lifestyle. There's a couple of lifestyle recommendations that we can suggest as well. Um, Lower the stress levels in your house. If say maybe if somebody is not you've got a little arguing going on, try not to involve the pet in that. Shield them from that. Also make sure they have lots of enrichment. Take them for walks, let them sniff. Oh, it just drives me crazy when I see pet parents dragging a dog along when they're not allowed to sniff. They live their worlds through their noses. It's kind of like taking an art lover to a museum blindfolded, or going to a concert with earmuffs on. It just it, give them the enrichment they need through their nose. Let them live their world through their nose, and leave P-males, for goodness sakes. We
Mm.
call them sniffaries. Um, um, and that enrichment is going to go very, very far to bring that stress level down.
Absolutely.
Um, yeah, play. Um, there was something else I was wanting to recommend. Um, just enrichment puzzles are good as well.
Hmm. And this would be another one where you can get adaptable plugins too to see if that would help.
Oh, that is good.
And
Yeah,
that's
that pheromone. Uh-huh.
and Delora brought up a good point. So, with Cushing's, we're sort of battling a bunch of stuff going on with your pet, pituitary gland, adrenal glands, liver, and so that's what's great about the original crockpet diet is that, it's formulated as an anti-inflammatory diet, but also formulated through traditional Chinese veterinary medicine. So automatically feeding the diet is going to help the spleen, which is where food first goes and the spleen is the stomach in Western medicine. And so the spleen's job is to transform that food into gu qi and then go to the other organs. And so when you have a fresh home cooked diet, the spleen is able to easily transform that and then help the other organs in a Chinese veterinary medicine way. And then you're also feeding a diet that's anti-inflammatory that helps the liver detoxify because usually when you have Cushing's, you have elevated liver enzymes and things like that. So absolutely right on the money, Delora there.
Well, we got a comment that said that they had switched their pet to fresh food in January. So that
Oh,
is huge and awesome. Good job.
awesome. Yeah.
And the diet that we're referring to is Dr. Ruth Roberts Crock Pet, CROCKPET diet. And basically, it's AFCO. She's formulated to the diet to AFCO standards, so it's meeting all the manufacturing standards, but it's with fresh food. You've got garlic in there for some good, just one clove for a batch, for some detox, turmeric for inflammation. It's wonderful and easy and fun. It's fun. I like doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's good because we answered. So we got Gloria here that I joined to find out, I think, more for Cushing's for her dog. So we explained a little bit about that there, just because we're running out a little bit of time. And then Charlotte had a question about, let's see, I need to know what to use on my 15-pound dog for leg pain, something like joint pain. She tore her ACL and had surgery. Oh, man. Oh, I know your pain, Charlotte. Recovered, and now she is limping with the other leg. No tear in it, just overuse. I was using Dasquin. I also need to know what to be using to replace Heartgard and tick meds. Just beginning to make changes. Thank you all. Let's see.
I love it.
Yeah, I always.
We can, a vet. And this is not, I mean, it's wonderful. They do a fantastic job, and I love when we work with the veterinarians, but they just give you a medicine and take you home or send you home. We can suggest so much for you to do at home.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so much. So CBD oil for pain and inflammation, omega-3 oils for pain and inflammation. Dr. Ruth's arthropause, and fresh food, probiotics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So in a nutshell.
Sorry, Delora. Yeah, so Delora had mentioned Dr. Roberts' arthropause, which is a glucosamine chondroitin that has MSM and Boswellia. So Dasquin, which I think you said you were on, there's different types. There's Dasquin, Dasquin Advanced, and I want to say Dasquin regular doesn't have MSM but has Boswellia. Dasquin Advanced doesn't have Boswellia but has MSM. So I'm sort of like I having worked with Dr. Roberts, the combination of MSM and Boswellia, I've seen, not even just with Dr. Roberts, just as in my massage business, it's a supplement I recommended where I would see a dog that was limping, stop limping just the second they started Boswellia. So that's why I like the arthropause. It's also unflavored if you have a pet with allergies. Like Dolores said, CBD is great. Because what's going on here, Charlotte, is unfortunately, it's just 3 surgeries that vets do all the time: neuter, spay, dentals, cruciate repairs. It's one of those things. And unfortunately, a lot of times, not all the time, but vets aren't the best at really, really, really emphasizing the importance of rehab post-surgery. And a lot of places nowadays have amazing places that do rehab, and what'll happen is that you've got that overcompensation from one leg to the other, and just in turn, the other one does start to tear. So just be really careful, because the limping may not be a full tear. It may be a partial tear, or maybe the inflammation of the beginning of a tear. And also, one of the unfortunate things that I've seen with ACLs is just the body just organically will just tear the other one. So, I would say a lot, with this kind of stuff, you have to do a lot of rest. Really, really, really go slow with the recovery because of that tear. You have the arthropause, CBD. Massage therapy is great if you have a massage therapist there. Chiro is really great if there's a rehab clinic there. Getting your baby into there and possibly doing maybe some aqua tread. Acupuncture can be really beneficial for this kind of recovery. And then there's also, if you go on YouTube, there's a lot of just rehab exercises that you can do at home and things like that for strengthening. So ACL tears are not fun, and I know the frustration. I feel your pain there because I see it all the time as a massage therapist. So yes.
We have another question. What probiotics do we recommend? Well, we usually recommend a company called Microbiome Labs Megaspore. It is a human probiotic, but it is a spore-based probiotic like we were talking about. So it makes it intact to the gut area, and it doesn't need to be refrigerated. They have a product for pets that is the same 5 strands of probiotics, but it's not as many CFUs, not as many units. Often, if you have a pet that's ill, they're going to need lots of probiotics, especially to help crowd out the undesirables. So the human product is just fine. The dog product, pet product has beef in it. So if you have a pet that's sensitive or allergic to beef, you won't want to do that one. But truly, since our gut microbiomes are so similar, you could give, if you're taking a probiotic, and if you look in the ingredients and there's no xylitol or anything in it that would be toxic to a pet, just share it with them. Share your omega-3s. I mean, that's what I do. Hazel, because she does have a lot of, my poodle has a lot of gut issues. When she's having a little flare, I'll give her up to 4 tablets a day. So, but you have to work up to it. And I only take 2. But it works.
Awesome. All right. We are way over time because
we are?
We're at 41 minutes.
So we were supposed to go an hour.
Oh, is it an hour? Oh, that's good. I thought it was half an hour. We're good then. All right, guys. We're gonna keep answering questions. Let's see.
Okay.
Might get his.
I don't see any more questions.
I'm looking at this. We got a little chat here on the thing. Thank you. Oh, this is for the bug fly. Thank you. I switched to fresh binge. Oh, that was the fresh binge.
Yeah, I covered those.
Oh, okay. Oh, you got the chat ones?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
God, you're on top of it. I'm not. Oh, awesome. You totally did. Okay. Let me see. I think that. Oh, sorry, y'all. Hold on. Let me reconnoiter. All right. So Charlotte was also asking about, this is a tricky subject, asking about replacing HeartGuard and tick meds, and she's just beginning to make changes. So there were a lot of actually great, because a lot of our other pet health coaches are down here responding, which I love so much. Some great answers. Yeah, so Lisa here, for tick, I've been using Wondercide collar spray treatment. Also just bought the Kin and Kind shampoo and spray. Heartworm, my friend uses Amber. Heartworm F stands for. And then I heard ground pumpkin seed is also for heartworm. So here's the deal. It really honestly depends on the area that you live in. So I live in the South, and whenever I have a conversation with a client about this topic, I always talk about, okay, so are the side effects of the medication or the possible side effects of the medication going to outweigh the actual disease? And so here in the South, there's just wherever you live in a humid area and you have tons of mosquitoes, heartworm is just prevalent. And as someone that's worked in the field, I have seen dogs die of heartworm. It is not pretty, and I've seen lots and lots of dogs turn up heartworm positive for not being on preventive. So I'm pretty much for putting dogs on heartworm preventive. That being said, there are places like California where heartworm is less prevalent. I know there's a lot of people in the north that have been able to kind of keep it at bay there, which is with the cold seasons and things like that. So a lot of my clients like the amber heartworm stuff for that. It seems, and Dr. Roberts seems to like that as well. Um, with ticks, I'm sort of different. So, because the preventive in tick is the one thing that I have seen dogs have seizures with. And so I'm not a big tick preventive fan. So I tend to be, again, in a situation where like we see ticks here, but like when my cat was indoor outdoor, I would just pull the ticks off when he came in and he was fine. So I, I, I think that the side effects of the medication for that are more dangerous than actual tick here. Do you have any thoughts on that, Delora?
I am going through my email and I can't seem to find it. There's an actual map that shows you the prevalence of reported mosquito bites and heartworm incidences. And it's online somewhere. I can't find it. And I've been looking since you've been talking. But so you can consult that, number one. If you have a healthy pet, yes, absolutely. If your pet's not so healthy, you're going to want to do some more holistic approaches, like cover them with essential oils. There's the crazy cat ladies have some really good essential oils for pets that are more natural, and a healthy gut microbiome. Here we go back to the fresh the microbiome. Like I said earlier, if healthy pets are less likely to get bitten. Have you ever been in a group of folks where you're at an outdoor activity and some people just get eaten up by mosquitoes and some people aren't bothered by them? Same thing with pets. If you have a healthier pet, they're not going to get bothered by them as much. But I 100% agree with you, Michael, that heartworm is not pretty. You want to handle it, do the medications. But I think Dr. Ruth, if correct me if I'm mistaken, Michael, but once the high temperatures are below 55 degrees, you can take a break on those heartworm meds.
Yeah, you can. It's
Did I bring up? Oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that.
Oh no! It's such a delicate
Okay, that's
subject. So it's I guess it's I feel like for me, if I have a client that I feel like is a responsible client when it comes to that kind of change of taking their pet off a heartworm, then I would say that it's okay. But I'm just sort of like, my history of working at an animal practice, I'm like, oh God, I don't want to tell somebody to. But yeah, I mean, it's sort of the idea of like, so when are the mosquitoes going to go? It's when it gets colder. But, even here, like, I'll tell you, like, even during the winter, I've seen heartworm positive, and it gets to 30 degrees here. So yeah, it's more prevalent, of course, when it's hotter. But in places like the South, and I actually pulled up the map, Delora.
Oh, good. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the South where I am, it's like blood red pretty much. But as opposed to like, you have like, oh my God, I don't know my geography. The northern states like New York and everything like that, it's like a lot less prevalent. So I'd sort of say it's still regional. I'd probably feel more comfortable saying that if you lived in the north, and definitely like, I mean, you have the Midwest and the West Coast. It's like 6 to 25 cases is the most, as opposed to the South. It's like 51 to 100.
Yeah, the arid climates don't have the breeding grounds that the South does.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so I guess it just depends on that. But yeah, that answers.
So we have Nancy has commented that she makes her own flea and tick spray with essential oils. That's awesome. She lives in the Northeast, so she doesn't have probably many mosquitoes. And then she uses amber Amber Naturals, HWF for
Mhm.
heartworm support.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic. I was giving the Amber Naturals to my dog because I don't give her the heartworm meds because of her immune situation. But
Mhm.
I did a Glacier Peaks wellness scan on her that detects sensitivities, food and environmental sensitivities, and she is sensitive to both dandelion and hawthorn. So
Oh,
it's like,
no, that's what's
dang, that's what's in it. So
oh gosh, yeah.
So
Uh,
I'm getting her tested several times a year at the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, and the end of the fleece or the tick mosquito season,
mhm.
just to make sure that I'm being a responsible pet owner.
Yeah, good. And I agree with like what you said earlier too, is that if you have a pet that's pretty sick, especially in things like, liver disease and stuff like that, then you really want to also rethink, the preventive as well. It's sort of again, it's always per situation, outweighing if the medicine has more side effects than the situation, or vice versa. So and yeah, and the amber stuff, like I sort of when I first heard of it, I was like, well, but I've had clients here for fleas like the amber collars and stuff like that that have found it really beneficial. So I'm kind of getting sold on it.
Cool.
All right. Looks like Lori has a crop pack question. Lori, that's for the.
It found you.
Just teasing you, Lori. All right. So, how much calcium citrate should I use for the fish recipe with and without beans? So, let's let me share my screen. Let's see. Uh, share that, and then I'm gonna pull up the recipe. And I know that on the recipe it doesn't have all the proteins for the chart. So you would treat protein. You would treat the fish because it's a lower, not fully lower. I'm sorry, not lower. I should say leaner piece of meat. So I would probably put it with um, either the. You could probably put it with the turkey. So I would say, actually, let's stick it with it. That's a good question, actually, Lori, because it can be a little confusing. So let's stick it with the pork. And so with beans, you're going to do 4 tablespoons. I'm sorry, that's for cat. With beans, you're going to do 4 tablespoons, a half a teaspoon, and no beans, 4 tablespoons and 1/2 teaspoon. So it's the same thing. Because pork is the leaner cuts of pork are lean, so it'll be about the same for fish. Um, and then you just go to your conversion chart here, which I know this is where the world of confusingness gets. But so you're doing 25 grams of that. So, all right.
Nancy posted a comment. She just had a dog today that may have SARDs from HeartGuard and heartworm meds.
Ooh,
SARDs. I don't know what that is.
I'm not too familiar with it either.
All I'm going to say is fresh food.
Oh, it is that. I did know what that was,
Okay.
but I shouldn't. I just didn't think of it with Leon Hartman. That's why I got confused. It's sudden acquired retinal degeneration syndrome.
Oh,
Um,
interesting. I never heard that correlation either.
I haven't either. Wow. See, well, it's so. I mean, okay. It talks about it being an autoimmune inflammation, which is sort of like, well, that's kind of everything.
So when you have some sort of toxicity going on of anything, there is a supplement that is rather expensive, but so effective and good. It's called C60, the letter C60. And it is an antioxidant, and it's shaped like a soccer ball, and it grabs a the cells, toxic cells, and then takes them, surrounds them, and moves them out of the body.
Mhm.
So if you're serious about moving toxins, investigate the C60.
Yeah, I can actually give it to my cat and take it myself. So and I
Yeah,
my
me and
cat
Hazel do too.
better. Yeah. Yeah, Nancy had said I personally know 3 people with dogs. Yeah, I no, I do too. I just had never heard a correlation between it and Heartgard and heartburn meds. Nancy, so it's interesting, which, you never know. So, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
when you have a liver that's overburdened, so it's kind of like a funnel, you can give it all kind of toxins, but it's got to process them, and then it's got to come out the bottom to filter it out. But if you keep adding and adding and adding into that funnel, it's going to start spilling over the outsides.
Mhm,
And that leads to symptoms. But as long as we can filter out some of the toxins that we can help, like food, um, treats that are manufactured incorrectly, just and the plugins, like I was talking about earlier, that load lessens the toxic burden. So the things you can't help, like plastics that are floating around in our water, we can take those on, and because our body is amazing, pets too, to be able to filter out the toxins and still live a great life. But you never know what is going to start that cascade of the symptoms. Perhaps the heartworm meds was the last toxin that little pet
mhm,
could take on, and then the symptoms started showing up, and whatever its genetic um, uh, predisposition is. So
mhm,
I have a genetic predisposition for rheumatoid arthritis, which I started to get years ago until the doctor told me that I needed to take a drug called methotrexate, and I couldn't drink wine anymore. And I was like, there's got to be a better way,
mhm,
which got me on this whole holistic um, journey anyway. And yeah, I did quit drinking wine for a little while, but you can, because I lessen my toxic load. So when we talk about the heartworm meds, um, and we make sure that that pet is healthy and they're not showing any other symptoms, that's important to know, because we don't want to overburden their little system.
mhm. That makes perfect sense. That's a great explanation, yeah. And Nancy had said too, we're 24 hours after Heartgard administration, which is just
Wow,
that's crazy that
that's fast.
because I mean, I worked at a practice where we gave Heartgard all the time and never had any issues with it because it's just ivermectin. So, but like you said, like the way that you described it is a perfect explanation of that a
Well,
possibility.
if these are kibble-fed dogs, their bodies aren't able to take on the nutrients appropriately, so they're already fighting an uphill battle. And when you add more chemicals on top of the pet trying to digest things that they can't, that's when you have more propensity of symptoms and illness.
Mhm. Well, hang in there, Nancy. Keep us posted on that. Yeah, I'm trying to think. It's interesting. I had a client, massage client, have their dogs have SARS, and I'm going to ask her. I just can't remember who it was, but I'm going to ask about the heart and preventive. So thanks for bringing that up, Nancy.
Mhm.
I mean, you never know. I mean, yeah. So, all right. All right. We got one more question, then we got to go. We have to go because we're almost at an hour. But um, what base mix do you recommend for raw or lightly cooked meals? Hmm. I'm not really sure on that one.
Meats and vegetables.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
your basis.
that's what I would assume. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You want a brassica vegetable in there as well to help with detoxification,
Mhm.
liver health,
Oh, I
uh,
was thinking like, all right, I was thinking of
like a powder or something?
like a brand.
I've never heard of Dr. Ha. Let me look at that.
That's why I was like a little trying to think in a base mix brand. Oh, is that Dr. Harvey? Is that who you're thinking, Julia? Is that who you're putting?
It's probably he has a supplement. He or she has a supplement mix.
Yeah, Dr. Harvey's. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We go for Dr. Ruth's total holistic body support. It's got phosphatidylcholine. It's got the B vitamins. It's a great multivitamin, but it also has taurine and dried and powdered organ meats. So that those organ meats are real beneficial for humans and pets.
Yeah, and his is it's a dry mix. It's a dry mix that you would add a protein to, if I'm correct. So if that's what you mean, then I normally would say pork first, just to if pets don't normally have a reaction to that at first because they haven't been introduced to it. So if that's what you mean by sort of, because I think that's what with Dr. Harvey's, you just add a meat to it, and then he's got the rest of the mix. If I'm correct. I'm kind of guessing. Not really guessing, but I haven't learned about Dr. Harvey's that much. All right. Hopefully that was helpful. All right, y'all. Well, thank you so much. Delora, great job.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's been fun.
Same to you.
Yeah. I mean, I learned so much just from you in this whole hour. So
cool.
Thank you so much. And so Dr. Roberts is doing a ton of speaking engagements this month. So next week, I will be back with one of the new pet health coaches, Laura Gammon, and she is amazing. She is doing the deal. So I will be with her. So you guys will have to suffer through me another time. But thank you so much. And I'll see you next week.
Bye. Thank you.